have those, even though I have those vows. So this is how it came about. And then basically from England said, this is really good, because then I take Andrea from Zurich also. And so, you know, sometimes they were 10, 12, sometimes more, sometimes 3. So like this. But it's happening every full moon and every new moon every month, and also you know, on these wheel turning days, like we just had one the last time. It was Sakadawa that we took the precepts. Now I'm not very good at reading. I'm not very good at studying. Also, this is the thing. I'm quite good at practicing myself. And then whoever wants to practice with me, this is why I also thought from now on, I really concentrate on doing Nunes or Tara retreats or Vajrasattva or whatever, things like that. Retreats that, you know, they're not offered so often. Like the teachings, we have a lot. And there's many, many people who can teach and who are teaching, and much better than me. Much more structured and organized. I'm absolutely not organized. And so, you know, if somebody is asking me to do these things, then I do that. And then the precepts, it just kind of came about. But with commentaries and all this, I came back today from Israel. So I read this little booklet, which is called The Direct and Unmistaken Method, for the first time this morning on the plane. So there you can see how well instructed I am. And I only read it because I thought, okay, I have to have a little bit of an idea what it is. So, like, having said that, if now you think, oh, this one, I cannot trust her, I do understand. And so then, you know, please, if you feel that this is not what you wanted, then just Zoom is easy. You just kind of disappear. But with the precept, I find, even though, you know, I'm not hungry in the morning, I'm hungry in the evening. And so sometimes I cannot sleep also when I take precepts. So, but I find that the mind is really kind of happy when I take precepts. It's always a very happy day. So I thought this is also really good to know. But maybe we start with a short meditation, reflection on our situation. Maybe a little bit, as Dharma practitioners, to feel very fortunate, to rejoice. We just had Geshe Loden here, first in Bern and then in Martini. And I don't know if you have ever had this thought, even though maybe some of you are new, but I see Christine is there and Caro is there and Ariella is there. You're not new. So, but have you ever had that thought? Gosh, I've been practicing for so long now and nothing is ever changing. Have you ever had that thought? Okay, so somebody, like always, you know, this is a question that always comes when a Lama is here. And it actually came in both places. It came in Bern and in Martini. And Geshe-la said, you don't know how to rejoice. You know, you don't rejoice. You only see all the things you don't know how to do, or they're not succeeding and all this. He said, 1 second that you are aware that you are aware, you should rejoice. So we can have 1 second of being aware that we are aware, and then we can rejoice. You know, I think if we would really know, just to hear the word Mahayana, on top of it, understanding what it means, on top of it, being interested in practicing in the Mahayana vehicle, on top of it, kind of hearing bodhicitta, on top of it, having masters who live bodhicitta, who inspire us, who guide us. And then from our side, we have, or I don't know about you, maybe I better say me, from my side, I have interest. I mean, this is so amazing. How many of you are familiar with the Bodhicharyavatara, with this text by Shantideva? There is one verse I think it's in the 3rd chapter, where it says, you know, like a blind man finding a diamond in a heap of rubbish, To an idiot, in an idiot like me, the interest for bodhicitta has arisen. So this is how I feel. You know, this is so amazing. Because if you look around, I mean, how many people really are genuinely interested to develop kindness, a good heart? Of course, you know, if everything goes well, nobody attacks you and people like you, praise you, then of course it's easy to be kind. But what about when people do not do what you want them to do, when they start to be nasty, when yeah, well, I just came back from Israel, so you know what's happening there. But let's say now I'm back in Switzerland, so I have to take Swiss examples. What about if you're a total vegan and your neighbor in the summer is coming now, and your neighbor starts to grill, you know, like these sausages and fish, and then the smell comes into your house all the time, and then you go and ask very politely, look, I'm vegan, could you please stop, you know, kind of frying these corpses? This is probably what you would say as a vegan. You wouldn't say you were wonderful steaks or whatever. And then he says, look, there's none of your business, which is right. There's no law what one puts on the grill, you know, unless it's something that is already, that is still alive. And then you start to have a huge fight with that person, you know, and then they put kind of caca into your letterbox and things like that. This is happening in Switzerland, isn't it? These kind of things, caca in the letterbox and stuff like that. So then would you still be kind to that person? Would you, as it says, since you are familiar with Shantideva, would you, as it says in Shantideva's 6th chapter, kind of, you know, take that person as your as something very, very precious, or as it says in the 8 verses, you know, somebody that I've trusted and was good to that person, and you know, was sure that something positive would come back. When that person turns against me, I will take that person even higher than my teacher, meaning more respect, more appreciation, more joy when you see that person. Are we there? I mean, am I there? I try. I would like to be there. I see it as a good thing. At the beginning, I didn't even see it as a good thing, but I see it as a good thing. So let's rejoice. Let's just rejoice that you have interest in these 8 Mahayana precepts, that we have such a life, such a condition or conditions that we can practice. We have a group, we have gurus, we have His Holiness the Dalai Lama, who this morning gave teachings also. We have translators, we don't have to learn Tibetan. We have a body that more or less works. Our mind is not, and I'm talking to the Swiss people, and I see there's some Danish people. I'm talking to the Swiss and the Danish people. We're not surrounded by enemies, you know, at our borders, and we don't know what will happen. Can you imagine what it means to live in a place where you have missiles coming all the time? We cannot, can we? So then we rejoice that we are in a situation. This is not happening at the moment. We don't know what will happen in the future. Or again, you know, I think most of us, we can be quite happy with our government. You know, there's governments, they just stay in their role as a prime minister, because if they don't, they have to go to prison because they're corrupt. And in order for them to stay in their post as prime minister, the war has to continue. This is really, really sad. Can you imagine having a government like this? No. So again, we rejoice that all of this, you know, maybe you see it on the news. It's not so much of your concern because it's not your country. So then we think, it's good to make an extra effort because I'm not distracted by these very difficult conditions. And these are just human conditions. Countries that are at war, neighbors that are grilling steaks and sausages, making a lot of noise, parties, not cleaning up the washing machine, these kind of things. This is what is creating problems in Switzerland when you have a common washing machine, isn't it? So it's so rare. So rare. So we have the leisure and we have the interest. We don't have to fight for our food. We only have to buy it. We don't even have to grow it. Again, when we think about bodhicitta and it says all people, so many people are so kind to us. Can you imagine everything you eat, how much effort goes into that? Or everything we wear, the traveling, the job that we're doing, everything. Like, without others doing their job, we could not survive. So many, all the time. So not only do we have like a really, really good do we have really good conditions to be able to practice, but these good conditions, they're day by day by day, they are created to the effort, to the work of others. So we rejoice that we have the good karma to be the ones who just have to buy the vegetables and don't have to grow it. Because I tell you, it's hard work. At the moment in Switzerland, you have to wade through water in order to kind of harvest the strawberries. I saw on the news yesterday because there was so much rain. And then we, if we find 2 or 3 strawberries that are a bit rotten in our bunch of strawberries that we bought, we get upset, isn't it? How dare they put rotten strawberries into my kind of half kilo of strawberries or whatever? So it's really, really good to look how we react sometimes. This kind of thing. Oh, but I'm the customer. It's due to me. You're the last person in that chain. And you're the one who put the least effort into producing these things. You have the easiest job. You just have to buy it. So we're grateful and full of, again, that's something to rejoice about. We do have the good karma that we can get food easily. And actually, that's one of the advantages of taking precepts. So we must have taken precepts before. I could go on and on and on and on, but we just try to kind of internalize that thought, no matter where you are, even if you're in Israel. I am so fortunate. Forget about all the problems with the neighbors, with your boss, with your colleagues, if you have. Sometimes even problems with people in the Dharma Center. Just forget about this. Just look, we have precious human rebirth, which is more precious than a wish-fulfilling jewel. A wish-fulfilling jewel today would be an unlimited Visa card. Somebody gave you, and you can buy whatever you want to buy. At the time of death, you cannot take it with you. Whereas precious human rebirth, with this, we can create all the causes so that we can continue in our Dharma practice in our next lives. We can make sure that we're not falling into the lower states. If we do the right things, of course. Precious human rebirth, we can create the causes for liberation and finally enlightenment. And this wish-fulfilling jewel we have in our hands at the moment. So how can we be depressed? How can we not be joyful? Or again, just think, being interested, because these are 8 Mahayana precepts, being interested in taking vows, like not being forced out of fear to take vows, but voluntarily taking vows that sometimes, they're a bit suffering, especially that eating one. Voluntarily taking vows to attain enlightenment, not for you, but to have the skills, the compassion, and the wisdom of a fully enlightened being, which uninterruptedly, spontaneously, and effortlessly constantly helps all sentient beings. And we have the potential to attain that. How can we not rejoice? How can we not feel fortunate? So then, why can we do all this? Because 2,500 years ago, somebody called Shakyamuni Buddha attained full awakening, and then he turned the wheel of the Dharma and started to teach it. And since then, these teachings have been handed down from master to disciple, and so on and so on. And it came to us. How fortunate we are. It's a living lineage. So maybe the first one we just do once, okay, so that it's not too long. Lama tumpa chum dende deshin chepa cha chompa yantapa sope sangye ripada shasu dempa deva shepa chiten kyepa keboduwe kalo gyowa lana mepa Ladami namki tumpa sangye chomdende pelgyawa shakyan chaselo chudu kyapsu chivo kanse kani tsovo kyutanche sachen nila kompa dumporne ngani chitendina choche sun che ke pa kula cha selo namda kunga chotu su sangwa ye she gyatso sergi lumpodra trapa chiten sunam la mewa kumpo chonye kula cha selo tsencho tempa Jime de wesha sedo chawa kula chasalo tuje kuja sipa sumachi name kenchen kula chasalo gumpo duche chenempa tamche kiempe tumpapo Sunam yunteng yatso shing deshin shela cha selo tape do cha chawargyur kewe ne son le joshin chito dandan chogyurpa shigyo chola cha selo chone chwe lam yantun La pata la ratune shingi tampa yuntenden kendun la yancha salo tipa chiyami chashin kewa punsun sopache rangi senyi nusodu Dini Sangye Tempai. So this has to do a little bit with what we're doing, because this is the essence of the teachings of the Buddha. Do not commit any unwholesome action. engage in perfect, wholesome actions, subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. So taking the precepts, it goes against our, goes against our habits and tendencies of doing unwholesome actions. Because I'm pretty sure none of us is happy to do unwholesome actions, isn't it? Like, you know the 10 non-virtuous actions: 3 of body, killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, 4 of the speech, lies, harsh words, and divisive speech, and gossip, or just meaningless talk. And then 3 of the mind, which is covetousness, ill will, and wrong use. So none of us rejoices in doing these things. So then, since we don't rejoice, so why do we do it? By the way, also, this is the way I teach, because I cannot talk the whole time. I don't know enough to talk the whole time. So I ask you questions sometimes. It also makes it a bit more alive, you know. So why do we do negative actions? Anybody, just open the mic and say something, as if we would be in one room.
I think sometimes it's not paying attention, so getting caught up in something and you react instinctively without the awareness. And then I think other times it's you maybe do something because somebody else thinks it'll make them happy, and so you think, oh, I do this thing and this person will be happy, but it's not a wise action.
Okay. Yeah, it's unawareness. This is the first thing, but it's not just unawareness. Unawareness would be okay, but there is something that is, as I said, habit, tendency, that kind of pushes us, and then we're not aware. It's called Shempa. Then we are not aware that something is kind of getting us into a direction where, if we would be aware and if we would be in our right mind, we wouldn't do. Because after we've done the action, we're not feeling happy about it, right? So this is, most of it is tendency, habit, but also unawareness. So by taking the precepts, it weakens those tendencies. That's one thing, because you know, karma ripens on the level of the same thing happening to you, but also the level of habit and tendency. So this is what gets weakened, right? And so then the tendency, and also it increases the awareness, because we have to be careful that day, because we took precepts. Okay, so that's why I stopped here, kind of. So it will help us to stop committing any unwholesome action. You know, we all know, just telling ourselves, okay, from today, finished. I'm not doing any more unwholesome actions. Is that going to work? No, exactly. So this is why we have to do something. Or if we say, from today, I'm only doing wholesome actions. Also, the habit is not strong enough. And subdue the mind, woof, you know. And so that's the teaching of the Buddha. So it goes step by step. Yeah, the first thing is, we really have to work on not doing the negative actions again. And very important, if you do a negative action, that you not get angry at yourself, and you're not kind of identifying with the whole thing, and you kind of, you know, you're disparaging yourself, I'm no good, and blah, blah, and all this. Many people do, unfortunately, and they totally get stuck. And Alex Bursin, at one point, I still remember that example, which I find really good. He said, you know, when we do negative actions, then what you should do is to purify it. Otherwise, it's like you go to the toilet, you make caca, and then you don't, you know, at that time it was still like this, and then you don't pull the chain. Now we don't pull the chain anymore. We only have to push a button. And then you stand and look at that mess, and you go, oh my gosh, look at this. It's terrible. Look what I have done. So this is what we do. And it doesn't help. It just makes the tendencies even stronger, because it really feeds into your ego when you think you are especially bad. It's actually worse than being arrogant and thinking that you're good, by the way. Ego is much stronger. You know, when you think you're bad, when you think, wow, I'm so great, it's usually quite short. But this whole thing, I'm so bad, it lingers, it can stay and stay and stay and stay. So we have to look at ourselves. Don't look at other people that you think are arrogant. You don't know how they think and how they feel. But if you look at you, you know, when we make mistake, the negative feeling of it, it's very, very long and can be quite heavy. Whereas when I do something good and think, wow, look at me, I did this really well, it doesn't last that long. I mean, for me, it doesn't really last that long. So don't look at others. You need to look at yourself. And then here, then the last verse or the next verses, this is from the Vajrakata Sutra, has to do with emptiness. A star, a defective view, a butter, lamp, flame, an illusion, a dewdrop, a water bubble, a dream, lightning, a cloud. See all causative phenomena like this. Then always the dedication by these merits may transmigratory beings attain the state of all seeing, subdue the enemy of thoughts, and be freed from the ocean of samsara, disturbed by the waves of aging, sickness, and death. Okay. And then just for auspiciousness sake, we just do this today, and then the other evenings, then we don't. Or maybe next time we do the Heart Sutra. Now we take refuge, which should probably come here. So again, by taking, this is important. I mean, for me, this taking refuge, generating bodhicitta, for me, this is the most important part in the practice, because it really kind of puts my mind on track. What do I really want? What does refuge mean for me? And this, nobody can tell you. You have to not just know it in your head, you have to feel that. And again, you know, we meditate for the sake of knowing, because we're so confused, right? So, you know, we know that we're not happy, something is lacking, this and that, then we do something, but we don't know exactly what. Taking refuge is so clear. It's absolutely one way, you know, oh, maybe I should do this, maybe I should do that. So taking refuge means you abandon negative actions, you start to do positive actions, and you subdue your mind. Because first, you're frightened of samsara. You are, you know, you're not kind of complacent thinking, oh, but I have a very good rebirth this time, how wonderful. Oh, I don't want to practice. I don't want to waste my time with practicing. I want to enjoy. I want to enjoy life. Yeah, so this is, because then you don't know what you should do. Should I eat ice cream or should I eat a pizza? You know, it's like already that is creating a problem. Whereas taking refuge, I want to, usually people say, I want to get out of samsara. I don't like that so much, because then again, it's as if it's a place. Okay, taking refuge means I am sick and tired to be under the control of wrong views, anger, attachment, jealousy, confusion. What else do we have? Miserliness, and yeah, like these kind of things, and ignorance. So it's very clear. It's very clear what we want. And we all know what this is. You don't need kind of course, you know, you have the definition. Anger is that. Attachment is that. Jealousy is that. Depression is that. But we all feel it. We don't need all these. I mean, it's nice to have definitions, but kind of, yeah, not really needed. Then, so I've had enough of this. And then you go, okay, how do I do that? Then we trust the teachings of the Buddha. And you can only kind of trust if you start practicing, because then you feel the effect. And most probably not immediately, because don't forget, you know, since beginningless lifetimes, we have been practicing negativities. And then finally we get our act together and start to generate bodhicitta. So it, you know, the balance is negativity is still quite high, and maybe bodhicitta not so strong, right? But we trust the teachings of the Buddha, and there's so many different teachings. so many different methods because there's so many different people also. So you have to find out what suits you. But sometimes it's not so great only to do what you feel like doing or that, something that feels good kind of thing. This is where the guru comes in. If you have a guru, you can ask that person. After having maybe practiced for 3, 4, 5 years, and then maybe then you know that you can go in different directions, and then you could ask a guru. I am not a guru, okay? So please do not ask me. I'm not clairvoyant. I cannot give you advice. If you already have a practice that you want to do and you don't know how to do it, this I can help you with. But to tell, people come to me, what should I practice? I don't know, I don't, especially if I don't know you. Even if I know you, I don't know. So, and then here's by merit of listening to the Dharma, because it's at the beginning of the teachings, but usually it says, by the collection of merit from practicing generosity and the other 6 perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit transmigratory beings. So here again, also, for me, extremely clear, all beings. Here it doesn't say all, but transmigratory beings. So bodhicitta is quite easy again. Yeah, it's like, yeah, this one, yes, I will benefit, but this one, no, and all this. Now, I'm not saying because I'm saying it's easy. Maybe easy is not just the right word. Maybe simple would be a better word. We don't have to choose. We don't have to choose between the people anymore. I see that I do choose. There's some I like very much. There's some I not so much. And there's almost nobody that I dislike. I think at the moment I don't have anybody. But sometimes people, very rarely, but it can happen that somebody comes up in my presence, and then there's this kind of not feeling so relaxed. So then again, very clear, all beings, not just the good people, not just the victims, like all beings. So we can say that 3 times. If you know how to do the visualization, do you know, everybody? To visualize? Yeah? I'll ask you. So what do you visualize when you take refuge, since you all know?
If you want to mute.
The Buddha. We should visualize the Buddha.
Okay. One Buddha.
And if we can, everybody else.
Okay. Okay, if we can, not just we can, yes, everybody else. Okay, so your mother is at your left side, your dad is at your right side.
That's right, yeah.
Have you ever heard that?
Yes.
Yes, exactly. Then what else?
The people we like in front of us, our friends behind us.
Oh.
Am I on the right track?
The friends behind you, yeah. Why? Why do we, they go like about, oh, you should work with attachment and anger. So why do we take them so close? The friends behind us and the people we dislike in the front. Why?
Practice, bodhicitta. Maybe.
Look at them and trying to see their quality also. Try to see the quality of those people, and they are our teacher in the way that because they're here, we can work on ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's more, you look at how you feel. Again, try not to be so much up in your head. The people behind us we need so that we can understand, for some people, I can have an open heart. For some people already now, very limited, but already now, very spontaneously, if they need help, I come. If I can help, very happy. Then we go, hey, but it's just a few. I don't want to limit myself so much. The people in the front we dislike, they're very important in your practice because you feel the closed heart. This is why they are the best teacher. I think, who said this? I can't remember who it maybe it was Gyaltang Rinpoche who was teaching for the Israeli group. Because he said, you see, if you want to know how your body is, you have to go and see a doctor and you have to pay a lot of money to make all these exams and all this. If you want to know where you are with your practice, you just have to visualize somebody that you dislike. Then you know where you are. You don't need a psychologist. You don't need somebody who checks it. So these people in the space in front, they really show us that I still have a long way to go. And to also see it's possible. We don't have to run away from them anymore. I think this is why they're in front. It's extremely powerful if you take refuge. You put them there in the space in front and you go, I don't want to have a closed heart for you anymore. I don't approve of your actions, but I still would like you to be happy because then you can stop harming others. And slowly with that thought, slowing these knots start to dissolve, and all of a sudden, poop, they're gone. It doesn't mean that you have to kind of live with somebody that is harming you. It doesn't mean that. But it really, again, not just intellectually, oh yeah, the ones I like and the ones I dislike, but to really see how it feels. And then the choice, what you want, is very easy. Because it's very unpleasant to have somebody in the space in front of you that you dislike. I don't know if you ever notice it. If you have to work with somebody that you dislike, nothing flows, the energies are blocked, it's very unpleasant, nothing is funny. You know, even he tells the best jokes. I don't think it's funny. I'm not laughing. He wants to help me. I don't accept it. It's like, it's horrible, isn't it? And then I start to hate myself because I behave in such a stupid way, right? And then they ask, what's wrong with you? And then I go, nothing. What's wrong with you? You know, we're so stupid I am so stupid when I dislike somebody. I don't have the problem so much anymore, thanks to the practice. But that was my biggest problem before I started practicing Buddhism, just spontaneously disliking people. And I just could not bear them. You know, if Buddhism has only done that for me, that it's okay, that I can stay with just about anybody. I mean, this is so valuable. You see, people we dislike, they have so much power over us. They can make you feel uncomfortable. They're not even there. You just have to visualize them. And then again, we get fed up with this. I said, I had enough of this. I don't want to be under the control of these guys. And then as Vivian said, yes, then everybody else, all mother sentient beings around us. Why do we do that? Why do we try to visualize all mother sentient beings? I wonder if we come to explain the precepts. If not, it doesn't matter, we can do next time.
But
I think this is important.
They all have been our mother and father. I mean, we all have connection. We need others to be here.
Try not to be in the head. What happens? Close your eyes and try to visualize all sentiment. Forget about mothers and, forget about all this. Just a number. Try to visualize just humans on this planet. How do you feel?
It's quite scary.
Oh, okay. It's quite scary. Why? They're just sitting there.
I am only one and there are so many.
No, how do you feel?
Connections.
Okay. How does connection feel? You're just giving me words here.
Closeness. Like you're linked to the...
Okay. Again, let's try again. All mother sentient beings. How does your mind become when you try to encompass with your mind all mother sentient beings?
Maybe very open or very wide.
Spacious. Because you have to let it go. And there's more and more. It's farther than the eye can see. And then we get in contact with the nature of our mind, which is spaciousness. Okay? Because, you know, Vivian, they're just sitting there, they're not doing anything. So why should it be scary? And because you have to liberate all of them.
Yes.
But not at the same time, you know, one after the other or whenever they're ready. And don't forget, the Buddha has incredible skills. So this is why also it's good to read sutras, because there it tells about the skills of a fully enlightened being. Or like Uttara Tantra. I don't know if anybody is kind of familiar with that. The Sublime Continuum by Asanga, about what it means to be a Buddha. Anyway, so then it makes the mind spacious. Then it's Ayela, it's not just one Buddha, it is all Buddhas and Arya Bodhisattvas. So then again, it's like, you know, it really opens up the heart and the mind. Because there have always been Buddhas, there are always Buddhas, and there will always be Buddhas. When you become a Buddha, what happens with your mind? Or what happens with you? Because we have the historical Buddha, which is Shakyamuni Buddha, that Ariela said, you visualize the Buddha. Okay? But then what about all the others who attain enlightenment? Where do they go? They disappear? No, they stay. You cannot fall back from that. So that's why also, you know, in the front, left, right, behind us, everywhere, Buddhas. The King of Prayers, are you familiar with that? On every atom are millions of Buddhas and Buddha fields. Yeah. So when we start to really read these things and try to visualize it, I mean, we see the enormity of this whole thing, what we are about to do, which is fantastic. Yeah. So it's nothing of the ordinary. Okay. So we say you visualize that if you can, and we say the refuge prayer 3 times. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my merits of listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha to benefit transmigratory beings. I take refuge until I'm enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my merits of listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha to benefit transmigratory beings. I take refuge until I'm enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my merits of listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha to benefit transmigratory beings. So when you say that, and I think especially bodhicitta, you know, I mean, how can you ever be bored? How? Cannot. Impossible. Okay. So, it is said that it's very good to take these precepts, full moon, new moon, and on the wheel turning days, or you know, for example, the day when Lama Zopa Rinpoche passed away, or his birthday, or His Holiness's birthday, or whenever you want to take them. So how shall we do that? Shall we just look at them, what they are? I mean, I know that Christine is taking them from time to time, also Talia. Anybody else has been taken them before? You have to open up the mic because I don't see you.
There's Mikkel that takes from time to time, and Katrina.
Oh yeah, Katrina also. Oh, so where are they here? Maybe go back.
I have taken them.
Maybe go
also.
back to the prayer book. I think it's 27 or something like that, isn't it?
I will look. 27.
Yeah, I think so. I try. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so one gets up. Usually it says one takes them before the day breaks. But don't forget, the Buddha lived in India. How many of you have been in India? like a whole year, not just, 2 weeks, because then you don't notice it. If you are a whole year in India, you will notice, usually it gets summer and winter, it gets kind of dark around 6, and then maybe in the summer 6:30. And it gets light also at 6, or in the winter 6:30, something like that. It's not like, in Sweden, for example, where in the summer you have almost daylight the whole day, and in the winter you have darkness the whole day. So then it's easy to say that, but otherwise here in Europe, if you really want to keep that, in the summer we have to start taking, now that the days get longer and longer, we have to take them at like 4:30. I think it starts to get light. Depends where you are, because the same time zone, I have sometimes people from Graz, which is very east, right, who take precepts also, and there is already light, and here in Switzerland is still dark. So we kind of agreed that unless the Dalai Lama teaches on these days, that throughout the whole year, we take them at 6 o'clock in the morning. I mean, Geshe Tashi in London, he was taking them at 8 o'clock when there was no Zoom, because he said people have no possibility to come to the center to take the precepts. So then it's better not to follow like that. But you don't have to take them with somebody. You can also take them on your own if somebody has given you these precepts. Okay? So I cannot give you precepts because I don't have the permission to give precepts, because also I never asked. And my guru is not alive anymore, so I cannot ask. But there is a video by Lama Zopa Rinpoche, and since you are all part of an FPMT center, where he explains the precepts in Kopan and he's giving them. So it's really good if you are interested in taking precepts, before we do it together here, that you do that. Because, okay, thank you. Yeah. Because, if you would take precepts from me, I would have to take them from the altar before, and then I would give them to you, and then you would have to repeat after me. But we're not doing this. We're taking it all together. But it's also okay just to take them from the altar, like, or from, you visualize all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, you visualize Chandresik when you take precepts, actually. And it's also okay. But the blessing is much stronger, because it's this whole thing about handing it down and lineage. And I don't know how many of you watched Geshe Tenzin Zopa last weekend. He was talking about the blessings of the lineage. So I have received them, of course, from Lama Zopa Rinpoche, from Khyentse Rinpoche, who was my guru. His Holiness the Dalai Lama, he used to give previous years when he was younger in Dharamsala also, and Chadha Rinpoche and other masters. So, but just receiving them from a master doesn't mean that then you can give them to others. So also, I don't feel like a guru or anything like that. So I feel much more comfortable with just take them together. But if you have a Lama coming to the center, for example, then you can always ask them if they would be not just giving refuge, but also give precepts, for example. Okay. If you have any questions, then just open up the mic and ask. Okay. So one starts, as I said, usually with this one. So here the refuge is a little bit different, because the guru is Buddha, the guru is Dharma, the guru is also Sangha, the guru is the creator of all happiness. In all the gurus I take refuge. Maybe it is because of that. Maybe it is because, it's good to take to receive, at least for the first time or as many times as you can, these precepts from a living guru. And I always think it is really, really nice to connect with the guru before any practice that you do, because you also, even you visualize all the Buddhas or Chenrezig or Tara or whatever, you train the mind to kind of unify your guru with the Buddha, especially if you do tantric practices. Now, precepts, of course, not a tantric practice, but still, it's really good to train the mind, because then this guru, you will receive the blessings of a Buddha. And but again, you know, there could be a whole section of guru devotion. It's kind of tricky. I can't remember who said, I read a commentary on White Tara by Gelek Rinpoche the other day, and he said, you know, you Westerners, kind of this whole thing about guru devotion, you don't understand what it means. It doesn't mean that you have to do everything the guru is saying without checking and all this. And there's a very good book also by Alex Bursin, which is called Guru Devotion or Submission or something like that. So sometimes people, you know, Western people, we're really blind and we just do whatever they kind of ask us to do without even checking if it would be helpful. So one connects with the guru also because that guru has given us precepts. So when you connect with your guru, what happens again, you know, for me, it's really important when I do, and I think this for me is the practice, that I look how I feel when I say something, so that it has an impact on me, not just the words. So when I visualize my guru, who then kind of unifies with the Buddha, then how do you feel for those who have gurus?
I think for me, I have a practice I do, and if I mean, I know you're supposed to do it anyway, but at the point where I visualize the Buddha before the point where I then, you know, see that it's the guru and do it like that. At that point before, it's almost like I don't like it so much. It's a different feeling because I don't know who this Buddha is, who this being is. But with the guru, I know who the guru is. And then there's the connection there. And until I get to that point, it's almost uncomfortable. And so I actually have to do that. I know you're meant to do it anyway, but if I didn't do that, it would be really uncomfortable, especially when you're kind of, you know, dissolving things and doing various things like that.
Yeah, but it's great. It's great what you're saying, because your heart opens. You know, imagine you do these offerings on the altar in the morning and you visualize the whole merit field. You're good at visualization, you visualize the whole merit field. You don't particularly feel that much. Imagine the Dalai Lama coming and you offer him a few strawberries and he's eating those strawberries. How would you feel? That's how we have to train to feel when we make offerings to the Buddha, and for that we need the guru. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because then the merit is there. You see, the Buddhas, they receive our offerings, but we're not aware of it, or we don't believe it. We just kind of pour the water and that's it. And I mean, okay? Pour the water and then that's it. And so like that. So it's very important to train the mind to feel joy when you see the Buddha or when you think about the Buddha. Yeah? The same joy as when you see the guru, or also when you know, well, you know, the guru and the Buddhas are always there constantly, but we lose contact with them. So whenever there's a problem, take refuge, think about your practice that you have received from the guru. Because also when it says the guru is Buddha, the guru is Dharma, the guru is also Sangha. Do you think you would be sitting here if there would only be books and listening to me? I'm sorry that you have to listen to me, by the way. So it's like, do you think you would practice the way you practice if there wouldn't be ordinary beings kind of giving you these teachings? No. Definitely not. We cannot. We need somebody. We need a source of inspiration. Otherwise, we're not going very far. So without the guru, we wouldn't know what the Buddha is. we definitely wouldn't know that we have Buddha potential. Would you believe it if you read in a book? Every being has Buddha potential. Every being's mind is pure. Do you think you would believe it? I doubt. So maybe we would have a Buddha statue somewhere in the garden. Yeah, maybe. Who knows? We definitely wouldn't know what the Dharma is because we have to hear it again and again and again. Do you think we would have Dharma centers without the Guru? What do you think?
No.
Do you think somebody would become a director of a Dharma center if the Guru wouldn't say, yes, it's okay, you can do the job voluntarily? Therese?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, definitely not. It's not an easy job, you know. So we need this, we need the blessing of the Guru, so that even if it's very difficult and nothing goes right, whatever, then we think, okay, it said it's okay, so there must be something that is good. Okay, we couldn't practice the Dharma without centers, and we definitely wouldn't have a Sangha. Otherwise, we'd be, I don't know, not even a football club can kind of exist without a trainer. So then forget about the Dharma club, you know, the people who want to attain enlightenment. So that's why also is here. So this is how you start. Then this is a bit extensive bodhicitta. So I don't think we have to go through this because otherwise it takes too much time. This is all clear, isn't it? With the thought, desiring to liberate transmigrating beings, I always take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until the heart of enlightenment is achieved. With perseverance, acting with wisdom, compassion, loving kindness in front of the Buddhas, for the benefit of sentient beings, I generate the thought of full enlightenment. These two verses, when I was in Dharamsala, like in the 90s, these were then added by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Then you purify the place. Why do you purify the place? Like it says, everywhere may the ground be pure, free of pebbles and so forth, as level as the palm of the hand in the nature of Vaidurya and soft. I don't think all the people in Switzerland who go skiing would be happy about this, as level as the palm of one's hand, you know, without the Matterhorn. Wow, Talia would be very unhappy in a pure land with level like the palm of one's hand, with nothing dangerous. But we purify the place to already at the beginning of the practice, we think about emptiness, that nothing, you know, pure or impure, where does it exist? Inside the mind or outside the mind? Inside the mind. So then you dissolve whatever you see and you visualize a pure land, because you will be inviting the Buddhas as the next step. Then we invoke the Buddhas. Again, do we need to invoke the Buddha? So it says, savior of all sentient beings without exception, divine destroyer of the unbearable hordes of Maras and their forces, perfect knower of all things without exception, Bhagavan, together with your retinue, please come here. Do we have to ask them to come here? No. Why not?
They always around us, but it's to make the connection. Yeah, that's how I understand me.
It's for us to remember that they're always there.
Yeah.
You know, always, also when we take refuge, you know, we remember that the Buddhas are always there. Another category of beings that is also always there is all mother sentient beings. We are never, ever alone. It is impossible to be alone. We're constantly surrounded by numberless sentient beings who want exactly the same thing as us. They don't want to suffer, they only want to be happy. So how can you ever feel lonely? You only have to open up your heart. Make yourself a cup of tea and think how many beings have worked so that you can just open the tap, put on your kettle, put a tea bag, put some oat milk or cow milk or whatever milk inside. So many beings. Then how can you continue to feel lonely? It's impossible. So this is why we invite them. And there's a whole story that goes with this verse, but maybe we'll go through that another time. Also, Talia, don't worry, because I usually don't do, I don't do an official half an hour questions at the end. If people have questions, they can just open the microphone and just ask, okay? If something is not clear. If you don't ask, then I assume that it's all clear and we just continue. Then we fill the whole space with offerings. So first, of course, it's always good, even if it's on Zoom, to make an altar at home before you take precepts. So then, but then that's not just what we have on the altar. It's like we do, especially we do with visualization. Again, the mind becomes very spacious. So may divine and human offerings, both actually arranged and mentally emanated, become clouds of finest Samantabhadra offerings, filling the entire realm of space. To get an idea how you can make offerings, yeah, of course, we talk about how to make an altar, but the second chapter in the Bodhicharyavatara, when Shantideva makes offerings to the Buddhas, so beautiful, it's so inspiring. So you can take him as an example. You don't have to say all the verses. You can say, I make offerings like Shantideva, because he makes these offerings with an awareness of emptiness on top of it. Then the offering cloud mantra, it is said, like here it says, just by remembering this mantra once, you receive 8 benefits. You have made offerings to Buddhas equaling the number of atoms of the sand grains in the river Ganga, who are abiding in the 10 directions. You have prostrated at the holy feet of all those Buddhas. You have made offerings of flowers, incense, flower garlands, ornaments, ointments, dharma ropes, umbrellas, and so on. You will become free from all negative karmas and obscurations. You will have all virtue. You will see all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. They will give you breath, meaning they will free you from the suffering of the lower realms and so forth. Devas, Nagas, Yakshas, smell eaters, Asuras, Garudas, Kinnaras, Mahoragas, Vajrapani, and the 4 guardians will always follow, guard, protect, and hide you from obstacles. You will be reborn in Amitabha's pure, blissful realm at the time of death. It's Devachen or Sukhavati. So when we say this mantra, then all the benefits from saying this mantra comes from that. And it's really good to remember also the 3 spheres, that I, the one who is making the offerings themselves, and the ones who are receiving it, all 3 spheres totally empty of any inherent existence, then it becomes perfect offering. And it's so easy. We only have to say this 3 times. I know also at the beginning of my Dharma practice, which was maybe 30 years ago, I thought, yeah, okay. I didn't believe any of this, to be honest. So, but then all of a sudden I thought, what if it's true? And then I don't do it. It's so stupid. If it's not true, then what's the big deal? It's not true, and that's it. So, but it's when you start to do these things that all of a sudden you feel that things are actually happening. Okay. But yeah, at the beginning it sounds very fantastic. I do admit. Okay. Then the power of the truth, because the Buddha never lies. By the power of the truth of the 3 very sublime ones, the blessings of all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, the great wealth of the completed 2 types of merits, and the pure and inconceivable sphere of phenomena, may these piles of clouds of offerings arising through transformation by the Bodhisattvas, Arya Samantabhadra, Manjushri, and so forth. So when we say that, then it is as if we would be Samantabhadra, Manjushri, and Shantideva, and all these beings making offerings. This is why, even if you don't think that you're offering all these things, you still offer them because they offer like that. Unimaginable and inexhaustible, equaling the sky, arise, and in the presence of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions be received. So it's good to have the confidence the Buddhas do receive these offerings, and then the joy comes. You see, and when we are rejoicing, when people say, oh, I've been practicing for so long and there's no result. When you rejoice, when you really rejoice, you feel joy. And that's the result of the practice. And you feel good. How can you say the practice is not working? But then if we forget, and think, oh, not good enough, then there is no immediate result. There will be a result somewhere in the future, but no immediate result. Then 7-limb prayer. Oh, wow. This also, we could do a whole day, like just talking about this, but I'm sure it will be also in some other things. But you're familiar with the 7-limb prayer, isn't it? That it's 7 attitudes in order to counteract 7 negative minds. And there also, it's really good that you stop after each limb. And when it says, I prostrate with body, speech, and mind, it's especially the mind. How do you feel when you respect somebody? You feel good or bad? Good. Okay. When you respect somebody, you want to make offerings. It's a joy to make offerings. I present all types of offerings, actual and imagined. Then the mind is up. Then comes the difficult part. I confess all negative actions accumulated since beginningless time. So when the mind is up, then we can think about the mistakes that we have made, right? And actually confessing takes away the guilt and the shame and the fear that somebody finds out because you are confessing. Confession is very, very powerful because we carry these things around with us, and we don't want to, we don't want to let them out because we feel ashamed. So the confession is the antidote for shame and for guilt and for fear. And then the mind, boom, plunges again. So then we rejoice. I rejoice in the merit of all holy and ordinary beings. Then please remain until the end of cyclic existence. So when we do that, it makes the life of the guru very, very stable. And we purify all the negative karma we have done in accordance with the gurus and turn the wheel of Dharma for living beings. Where then we create the causes that we can continue to practice Dharma, the whole package, like in its entirety. And then, of course, the dedication, I dedicate my own and all others' merit to the great enlightenment. Okay, so that's the 7 limbs, very powerful practice if your mind is really there. Okay, then the mandala, short mandala. Okay, big question. Why do we offer a mandala? What do you visualize when you offer the mandala? Maybe I should show you the text. I like to see you. I don't like to teach on Zoom with the text showing all the time because then I can't see you. Why do we offer mandala?
Ani Losang could still see us if you click on views and
Yeah, I know, but only five of you.
I see. Or you do side-by-side gallery.
I can put this a little bit aside. Yeah, the gallery I have, but then I only have 5 of you to go through. What I could do maybe to make the text a little smaller, then and take you to the side and take you like this. Now I can only see 2 of you. How come? Anyway, now it's only me and Talia. Anyway, so why do we offer mandala?
Or I can share the screen. Then you can see it.
Yeah, but then I still see only the screen and not you guys. Anyway, can we go back to the question? Why do we offer mandala? What do we offer in the mandala? This ground anointed with perfumes, strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, 4 continents, the sun and the moon. This is how they thought the universe is at the time of the Buddha. We can clearly see it's not like this. Even the Dalai Lama says there's no Mount Meru anywhere. But what is important, the universe, as they thought it was then, I imagine it as a Buddha land and offer it. May all transmigratory beings enjoy this pure land. Do you think it could be maybe to increase our faith and our trust that there is a pure land if our mind is purified? That's why we offer it. Do you think you can train the mind to see things in a different way? Definitely. Somebody that I think is very good, all of a sudden everybody else around me says that this is really rubbish. All of a sudden I start to believe it, even though the object is still the same. So this is why also it's to purify our mind to see the universe the way we see it, as, you know, lots of suffering, wars, and da-da-da-da-da-da. And then the Pure Land is there. If we would be realized, the Pure Land is right here. We don't need to go anywhere. Okay? So we offer that in order to enhance the faith that there is a Pure Land, and then we give away everything that prevents us from being able to see or manifest the Pure Land. The object of my attachment, anger and ignorance, friends, enemies, strangers, body and enjoyments without any sense of loss, I offer them. Please kindly accept them and bless me to pacify the three poisons in dependence on their own object. This one is the most important here, without any sense of loss. Can you imagine if somebody comes and says, now you have to give away your friends, your possessions, your pleasures, your this and that? How would you feel?
No,
Huh?
no.
Exactly. Oh, poor me,
So
what can I do without all this? Yeah. So this is
So
why,
with the practice, sorry.
why the sentence is so important. These are the source for our suffering, and we're frightened to give it away. So we have to train to say, hey, I can lose my fear by offering it to the Buddha in order to get something better in return. Clear? So this one, without any sense of loss, very important. Try to, try to, at least in the mind, to give it away. You see, I know that you were very attached to your families and friends and all this. I have no family, and I don't feel lonely. And I don't even have like personal friends, because I feel pretty friendly to, like, with everybody. I feel that if I would have a family, I couldn't do what I'm doing. It would be almost like a burden. For me, I find, now please, don't tomorrow then say, okay, I pack my suitcase and goodbye, because Losang said there's so much freedom in not having a family and personal friends. Please don't do that. But don't be afraid. One can be very happy without a family. There's a lot of responsibility to have children. Wow. So it's not just joy and this and that. So in case you don't have a family and you think that, oh, it would be so wonderful if I had a family, I would be so much happier. It's not true. It's absolutely not true. Try to see the advantage. When you feel that you should have a family, try to see the advantage of not having one and the disadvantage of having one. And go and live with a family that is very unhappy and is fighting and all this. Then you go like, oh, good thing I don't have one. Don't go and stay with the happy family. It will make you even more miserable. So you have to be skillful already now, finding antidotes. So we give it away, and then we are ready to take the precepts. And so here is this one verse. Though you offer service with a calm mind, 100 billion times 10 million Buddhas, with food and drink, umbrellas, flags, garlands of light offerings for 10 million eons, equaling the number of sand grains in the Pacific Ocean, the merit of someone enjoying living in one vow for one day and night when the holy Dharma is degenerating and the teachings of the one gone to bliss are ceasing is particularly more exalted than that. And that is, you can read in the sutra, sometimes this is why when you make material offerings, they have an end because they're material. Whereas if you take precepts, it has no end. It doesn't end because it's not material. It doesn't mean you shouldn't make offerings. And also it doesn't mean you shouldn't take all the 8 vows. Okay, because then some people say, oh, okay, because it's so beneficial just to take one, so then maybe I only take 2 or 3 or this and that. It's 8 Mahayana precepts, so of course, if you can take all 8, that is the best. So now we look what they are. First, it's just a ceremony of taking them. So again, all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas dwelling in the 10 directions. So you can see how many there are, you know. Please pay attention to me. And when there is a master, you would say that. If there's no master, you don't. Just as the previous Tathagata, so all the previous Buddhas, Arhats, perfectly complete Buddhas, who, like the divine wise source and the great elephant, did what had to be done, performed actions, laid down the burden. The burden is our 5 contaminated aggregates, subsequently attained their own welfare. This is basically the Arhats here. So the Arhats are taking precepts, but they're not Mahayana precepts, but they're the same. They're the same vows, but they're not done with the Mahayana motivation. So they attained their own welfare, completely exhausted the fetters to existence, had perfect speech. Now that's the Buddhas. Well-liberated minds, well-liberated wisdom for the welfare of all sentient beings, in order to benefit, in order to liberate, in order to eliminate famine, in order to eliminate war, in order to stop the harm of the 4 elements, in order to eliminate sickness, in order to fully complete the 37 practices harmonious with enlightenment, and in order to definitely actualize the unsurpassed result of perfect, complete enlightenment, perfectly performed the restoring and purifying ordination. So all Buddhas have taken these precepts. So if we want to become a Buddha, we have to take vows. Similarly, also I am called from this time until sunrise tomorrow for the welfare of all sentient beings, in order to benefit, in order to liberate, in order to eliminate famine, in order to eliminate war, in order to stop the harm of the 4 elements, in order to eliminate sickness, in order to fully complete the 37 practices harmonious with enlightenment, and in order to definitely actualize the unsurpassed result of perfect, complete enlightenment, shall perfectly undertake the restoring and purifying ordination. So then you think you have received these vows. Now, why do we take vows? Not just in order for us to be more mindful that how we spend the day, but because a vow purifies negative karma from these negative actions that we have done while we are holding the vow. So it's a bit like putting your washing in the washing machine in the morning, putting the button, and then, you know, it keeps washing. Otherwise, and it produces positive karma on top of it from not killing, not doing this, not doing that, Otherwise, positive karma is only created, or negative karma is being purified, if I see a mosquito sitting on the wall and I have a thought, I want to kill it, and I go, no. That short moment, positive karma is created from saving lives. That's all. Whereas when you take the vows, when you take precepts, it goes like these 24 hours, as long as you're holding the vow. So you think you're receiving the vow from the Buddhas. Next day, sunrise, the vows just, you don't need to do anything. They just finish because that's what you say. It says in that little booklet that maybe I'll put it in the chat. Not just maybe, I'll put it in the chat, or maybe you already have it. It's called the Direct and Unmistaken Method. It says if you want, and you really regularly take the vows, full moon and new moon, you only have to take them once. And you say, this year, every full moon and every new moon, I will take precept. Or you can say, for 3 days, I'm taking precepts. Or you say, for 1 month, like Sakadava, I'm taking precept. Then you don't have to get up so early every morning and take them. The thing is, you might forget. And also just doing the preliminary practices, you create a lot of positive karma on top of it. But you can, technically speaking, you can do like this if you want, okay? So the precepts are what you are taking. And then also at the end, you know, you think, now I'm holding these vows in my mind stream, and then you go, just as the arhats of the past abandoned all misconduct of body, speech, such as killing and so forth, and mentally turned away from it, I too, for the sake of all beings, will abandon for one day these wrong actions and devote myself to the pure practice of the precepts. So if you really think what you're saying, I mean, you feel good about yourself. I'm sorry to say, but this is it. You think like, wow, this is great, you know. I very consciously decide today not to create any negative karma. Fantastic. This is making life meaningful. So then it says, from now on, it's not from now on till forever. It's like till tomorrow morning, or forever, how long you take them. I shall not kill. I shall not steal others' possessions. So killing means anything on purpose. Again, you know, all these actions, they have 4 kind of legs or 4 branches. Yeah, like the intention, like the mosquito. Usually with the mosquito, the action is really complete. I see the mosquito, I don't want it. I plan the action, I use my human intelligence. You know, I'm not just going like this, I go very, very slowly. I go, and far too strong. So that's the action. The object is the mosquito. The mosquito is dead before I die, and then I'm happy that I got it. Then the action is complete and becomes what is called throwing karma, meaning it kind of determines a rebirth in the lower state. Whatever throwing karma is, and it's negative karma, it's never kind of a very suffering human existence or something like that. It is always as basis in the lower states, like hell beings, hungry ghosts, and animals. There again, you know, people say, well, I don't believe in it. Can I just see human beings that are very hungry, or human beings that have a lot of pain, or human beings that behave like animals? No, because as a human being, somebody can take you out of that state and can feed you. As a hungry ghost, nobody can feed you. There is no Red Cross or kind of, you know, UN, whatever, all these organizations in the lower states. So don't be too much, you know, anyway, this up to you, how you deal with this. But how do we know that it doesn't exist the way it says in the texts? How do we know? Just because we don't like it? You know, what if it's true? But you see what I mean? As a hell being, you have to finish that lifespan. As a human, somebody can cure you, or somebody can help you, or something like that. Okay, so it goes with everything, you know, as we go. All of them have these 4 factors. You know what you're doing, you have an object, you do the action, and then you complete the action. When you steal others' possessions, you know that it's not yours, it has not been given. You also kind of know that, again, you know, I have to see you. You also kind of know that the person would not be happy if you take it. Yeah, so if you're in somebody's house, you make a cup of tea and you want milk in it, whatever, oat or cow, you know, and then you ask for every little thing, like me. Like, for example, I'm always in somebody else's house. When people say, just take whatever you need, this is why it's important to tell your guests also what you want to give them, so that they don't have doubts and will not create negative karma. Okay? So it's not that which has not been given. If somebody's, you don't have to ask for everything. It's still good to ask if it's something bigger, but if it's milk or a fruit or whatever, but you can make it a habit to ask. It's okay if I take an apple or something. It's actually quite nice. Yeah. I shall not engage in sexual activity. That also is like any sexual activity, also masturbation and things like that. But it's, you know, the act is completed if something is going on. Just having fantasies, the act is not complete. I shall not speak false words, like, saying, that you are lying and somebody believes you. That also, for the act of lying to be complete, somebody has to believe you. I shall avoid intoxicants. Here, very often people ask, what about coffee? Well, do you need by the way, I see many people are logging in. Do you need the link? Okay. So if you need the link, then we do a short, we do a short dedication, and then maybe we just continue next time with and we change the program a bit. Is that okay? Because I don't want to take anybody's time here. Okay?
Yes.
You could have
Thank
warned
you.
me that you need the link. Then I would have maybe not spent so much time on refuge and all these other things, but because it's one package. So anyway, so whatever positive energy that we have created by starting to look at the precepts, then we dedicate to our own enlightenment and the enlightenment of all, so that we can create that. And may the supreme jewel bodhicitta that has not arisen, arise and grow, that which has arisen not diminish but increase evermore, and the supreme view of emptiness that has not arisen, arise and grow, and that which has arisen not diminish but increase forevermore. And if anybody is interested, on Thursday it's new moon, so we are taking precepts, and so if you want to participate, then we can do like that. And maybe Talia, I'll send you the Unmistaken method, and then you can send it to the people who kind of did.
Yes.
I'm sorry I took some of your time, guys. Hi, Lars.
Hello, no problem. Listening to your wonderful words. Thank you.
Well, okay. So I go. Is that okay?
Yes, thank you, Venerable Ani Losang.
Okay.
And the remaining group will start Vajrasattva practice,
Okay.
led by Lars.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
Losang. See you next week.
Thank you. Thank you, Talia, for making this possible with Anila. She's fantastic.
So maybe next week we figured out if we have 2 links or something, just in case it overlaps. Never mind. We take it offline. Please practice well.
Yeah, you can contact me about what I didn't get it, but
Yeah, no
please mail
problem.
me.
Okay. Enjoy. Bye-bye.
Good evening, everybody.
Hello.
Maybe leaving, maybe coming. Andreas is here, I think. Hello. Good night.
Lars, I have to nip out at 9 o'clock. I have to do something for Venerable Robina.
Sure.
But
Of
I
course.
still wanted to come rather than not come at all. So it's at, is it 8 o'clock your time? 8 o'clock
It's
your time.
7:30 now, so you can easily join in with the Venerable Bina at what was your time? Was it 10 o'clock your time?
Yes,
I think it's 11
yeah,
my time.
I have something else to do as well for Venerable Bina that I have to do at 8 o'clock.